O'clock. It is Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank, AM 1160 WCCS, 101.1 FM. There's Jim Struzzi.
Good morning, Todd.
Morning, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Yourself?
Wonderful. You're looking good. You ready to go?
Thank you. I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, summertime is here. Meanwhile, we continue to look at a number of different things. And you recently made a trip to Louisiana.
I sure did.
With Byron Stauffer.
Myself, Byron Stauffer, and Tom Simmons from the KSA Group, who's working with the Development Corporation and the Center for Economic Operations to help us attract business to Indiana County. Mm-hmm. We took a trip down there in relation to the cracker plant, the ethane cracker plant that Shell is going to be building in Beaver County. We wanted to see how that area, which is really the petrochemical epicenter of the world right now, the southern southwest Louisiana corner in the Lake Charles area, we wanted to see how that area reacted to those chemical investments coming into their community and how we in Indiana County could tap into the success of Beaver County and how we could bring some business here in relation to the cracker plant. So we took a trip down there in June. It's incredible what's happening down there, Todd. Right now they have $40 billion under construction.
Wow.
Imagine that. Yeah. I mean, there's we're seeing an $8 billion investment, I think, in Beaver County with the possibility of a couple of more cracker plants coming to the Southwest Pennsylvania corridor. But down there they have numerous plants under construction. Just incredible what's happening down there. And then looking ahead, they're looking at possibly up to $117 billion by 2020. So you can imagine what that's doing to the region down there. They have 34,000 construction jobs right now with 20,000 permanent jobs. So we really were impressed by their community down there. We were hosted by their Chamber of Commerce. So not only did we see the petrochemical industry down there, but we saw how they function in their workforce development, in their education, in their community planning. So it was really a great trip for us. We brought back a wealth of information. I have an article that I'm going to be putting out in the Chamber's newsletter and our e-newsletter here in the next couple of weeks, but it was really a worthwhile trip.
Give us a couple of hints, because I'm particularly interested, since we're X number of miles from, 70 miles?
60, 70,
from Beaver County. From Beaver County. I'm sure that you looked at communities in that geographical distance and the different infrastructure that is built around that area to determine how they are addressing the need for workers and for industries and companies that will benefit and then do benefit the cracker plant working down there. Well, what's it like? How does that compare in parallel to up there?
It really is a regional draw because that workforce is so demanding. People came from all over. They have temporary towns set up just to house all these workers.
Temporary towns?
They literally temporary towns. Yeah, because their other industry down there is tourism, and they didn't want all the hotel rooms to be occupied long term, so they actually built temporary towns for these workers to come in. It's amazing. I have pictures that will just it'll blow your mind when you see the construction and all this. But the educational component was key, and I think that's one of the areas that we can tap into, particularly with IUP. We had the opportunity when we were down there to meet with an IUP graduate who's working in the industry, and he's there because that's where the jobs are. And when we told him about the possibility of those jobs coming back to Western PA, he was very excited. And he would much rather be here than there, and I think that's really an area we can tap into. He was a safety science graduate from IUP and making good money down there. But we need to look at those workforce needs. What are the cracker plants going to need as far as employees long term? How do we structure our educational programs to meet those needs, which is exactly what they did down in Louisiana. We had a chance to visit with their tech school down there, the community college, and they simply went to these employers and said, what are you going to need? How do we structure our programs to meet your needs? So they actually have miniature plants set up where they teach these young people how to be operators, so they can go to school for 2 years, come out making $80,000 a year. Yeah. So that's an exciting opportunity for all of Western PA, particularly IUP and the community colleges. But also, one of the key things that we saw down there, a lot of times previously, all the products have been going out to sea. Now they are building rail lines to bring it inward. So once these cracker plants start producing those petrochemical products, the plastics, etc., they're going to rail them north instead of shipping them overseas, which is interesting because we have a rail line that runs from Indiana County directly to Monaca. It's not used right now, but we think that might be our big opportunity, and it actually connects down in Blairsville with the corporate campus down there. There's property available, so we think that we can attract, if we can attract a plastics manufacturer, they'll have direct rail access possibly to that cracker plant in Beaver County. So that's where we think our big play may be. There's a lot of work that has to move forward. A lot of things have to fall into place to make that happen, but that is a big opportunity for us.
Yeah, I think one of the things to point out as well is that this is all a direct result of the natural gas that is being discovered through the Marcellus Shale.
It certainly is. And that's what they said down in Louisiana. Why is all this coming to Southwest Louisiana? And it's because they have the pipeline infrastructure in place and they have an abundant supply of inexpensive natural gas.
Yeah, and here in Indiana County, of course, they're putting in the one pipeline.
Right.
And there's another one coming or no?
I'm sure there's going to be
Just
several.
Yeah.
There's probably 4 or 5 major pipelines under construction right now across Pennsylvania. But you're absolutely right. We have that here in Indiana County, and we keep touting. We're right here at the center of the Marcellus and Utica basins. Come here and build your business, and this is just a good example of how that can really blossom into something great for the community.
That's going to be something to watch over the course of the next 5, 6, 10 years.
Absolutely.
Something to really see. And how does Indiana County take advantage of those opportunities? It's a pretty high pressure thing, isn't it?
Well, it is.
It's a high stakes game.
It is, and we want to be out in front of it. That's why we were one of the first contingencies from Pennsylvania to go to Louisiana, and they were really glad to see us there. We had met with them by chance in Titusville. They had a day-long session to talk about the cracker plant and its regional impacts, and they invited these people from Louisiana up there. They gave short presentations, kind of just touching on the surface. So Byron and I reached out to them in their regional alliance down there about hosting us, and they were more than happy to do that. So they put together an agenda for us. We met with everyone from bankers to educational people. They gave us tours of the community. It was just a great trip.
Jim Struzzi is with us, President, Indiana County Chamber of Commerce. I have other questions, but
Yes.
I know that you have some things you want to make sure folks know about as well.
Well, some exciting things are happening this week, Todd. Tomorrow night we have a chamber happy hours at the Country Club, a poolside happy hours. That's from 5 to 7. And then on Wednesday we have a chamber business after hours hosted by First National Bank, but that's going to be at the Hilton Garden Inn. Okay. So that's for chamber members also from 5 to 7 p.m. But the exciting thing is we're going to announce the winner of the Healthiest Employer Challenge.
Oh, okay.
So, we started that back in May and went through May and June in partnership with Indiana Regional Medical Center. We had, I think, 8 or 10 businesses that participated. People took it very seriously. We counted steps. We took blood pressure, weight to see who overall as an average would be the healthiest employer for Indiana County. So we're going to announce those winners and the individual winners at the after hours on Wednesday.
There you go.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Terrific stuff. Well, that's what we have to be, a healthy workforce. We can't just be a workforce.
Well, that has an impact on your workforce. If you have employees that are unhealthy, that costs health care costs, that reduces your production costs, that, there's expenses that come with being healthy, and it's important that we emphasize that as a Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. Do you have other events that
I have a long list of events right now, Todd. We have 4 events coming up in August. We have Business After Hours at the United Way and Uptown Fitness on August 3rd, Bayada Nursing down in Blairsville on August 17th, and then we have a Chingle, which is our partnership events with the Tourist Bureau at the Indiana County Jimmy Stewart Airport on the 18th, and then Government and Civil Service Employee Services on the 31st. So just a whole bunch of events coming up here as we move through summer and into fall.
Yeah. Last hour, I believe it was, Eric Lauber was here from IUP talking about the leadership classes that they're putting on.
Yes.
And the Chamber of Commerce's support for that program
is
so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Developing leaders in Indiana County, extremely important. In light
Absolutely.
of what you just said about the cracker plant and the efforts that are going to be ongoing, we have to have people that are going to be in a position to sort of grab us by the hand and take us.
And we sure do. And, I applaud Eric's efforts. This is probably the 4th year that he's done the Leadership Academy, and we're happy to partner with him on that. But it's a great program to develop young leaders. I always go in and speak to them, and they do a community service project. I'm sure Eric covered all those bases, but you're absolutely right. That's part of the reason that we launched the Chamber's Young Professionals Organization also, because, there's a gap in senior leaders, and we need to make sure that when the time comes for these people to take those leadership positions, that they're ready to do that. So that comes from networking, that comes from experience, and it's great that the senior leaders in Indiana County are reaching out to the younger, up-and-coming future leaders to help them be nurtured.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting for me just to, we wait for the news releases to come out to say this is happening or that is happening.
Yes.
But we have to understand that there's so much work going on behind the scenes that we don't see that makes this happen or that make that happen.
So very true. And I think you're going to see a lot of announcements coming up here in the near future. We've been saying that for some time, but there is a ton of work that goes on behind the scenes. Byron Stauffer is just amazing in what he does as the county's economic development planning director. He does a great job. Everybody is out there trying to do what's best for Indiana County. We're trying to market. We're trying to attract people. The chamber's out there talking to a lot of people. Our board and our officers are always out there doing what's best for Indiana County. On a regional basis, we're making our presence known. And those are the kind of things that people don't realize are happening until you see a store open or something like that. But we're constantly striving to fill the empty stores, to fill the lots, to fill our business parks. And I think you're going to see a lot of those efforts culminate here in the near future.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to watch to see if that rail line is able to reawaken, clear out the weeds, and get the trains running.
Well, it's exciting because it's going to be probably 4 years before that plant is up and operational, and that gives us some time to get these things in place, and that's why we're trying to be out in front of it.
Terrific stuff. Jim, thanks so much for coming to visit with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Todd.
It is Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank.